just yet.
All right. I was doing this to me the other day. Hang on. Looking up my stream so that I can see comments over on my computer. There it is. Show me. There we go. There's myself. Alright. Usually when we get started, it takes a minute to get everything set up, but now we're good to go. How's everybody doing tonight? What's going on? I got this cube I'm working on. Just shrink that a little bit. There we go. All right. So, this is a rather large jelly cube. They're super fun, even in small sizes, but if you ever end up getting one, I recommend one that is what the chainmail niche community calls like a 5x5 or a 7x7x7. Got into a lot of trouble with how the chainmail community sizes these cubes, right? Like these cubes are counted every other row as the total, right? So this is 15 wide by 15 long, and it's only 14 rings tall, so we're adding 2 more layers for the 15th row on top, right? And a lot of people were confused, and I did misspeak in a previous video. I said there were 16,000 rings. At that time, there wasn't. There was only 14,700 some odd rings. And so people would be like, 14 times 14 times 14 doesn't equal the amount of rings you're saying it has in it. It's only 2744. Each of these sides has over 500 rings at this point, so to get to 2744 is only 5 or 6 rows back, right? This section right here is 2,744 rings. So there's a lot more than that. Plus, also, we can weigh some of these loose rings and then weigh the cube later. Last I checked, it was 1 pound, 4.5 ounces. It'll be a little heavier now. And then we can, calculate how many rings it is by weight. It's not a hard thing to do, but there are some equations that people have figured out how to get the ring count in a cube. And I was trying to explain that to people in the comment section of my last video, and I think people just didn't believe me. So, but that's okay. I'm much closer to being right about the ring count than they are. So, but If this is your first time hanging out here, my name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories, and I make chainmail. And I spread the good word of the divine ring and weave cool stuff out of small metal rings. And right now, I just happen to be working on this cube. I did have to take a break over the weekend because I was having some pretty bad wrist pain. So I put my wrist braces on, took some ibuprofen, and gave myself a rest. I did get the stuff to finish the Finnegan's Wake flag. It's all over here. There's some more. This should finish most of it. But that's in. But I've only worked on it one time. So it's coming along. I've got whatever I get done tonight on this cube. I've been working on it most of the day. Just to give my wrists a break, work on a little aluminum, warm them up after not working all weekend. And then tomorrow I've got I'm either going to work on the saddlebag or the Finnegan's Wake flag. We'll see how that goes. But I've got lots of big projects right now. I'm trying to avoid, I'm not going to lie, I'm trying to avoid this project. This is the project that killed my wrists last week, right? Each of these rings is made up of 176 smaller rings. So I take these smaller rings, I make a chain out of it, and then I turn it into a ring, and then I weave them all together, right? I have to make 95 of these. How's the anodizer coming? Are you getting a ring maker first? I am waiting on my tax return. And it's going to be a while before... Let's see here. I've got 20 bracelets I have to make in May, and then maybe June we'll start looking towards the end of year goal of having a complete setup down here. Get my coil and cutting area going, anodizer, riveting setup. Need to do it in smaller amounts, like one ring per stream, then move on to another thing for the stream. When I get to the spring steel that I ordered, I might only be able to do one ring per stream or one ring a day or something. For anyone wondering, I'm not talking to myself. I'm live on the Face app, the U app, the Purple app, X, and you can get an overhead view of my workspace. I'm not trying to hide it behind this gargantuan piece here, but yeah, when I get back to this project, I'm almost out of the rings I had that started this project. And I ordered a bunch of spring stainless that should be, they should be the correct size. They were labeled as the correct size. But spring stainless is one of those things that separates the boys from the men. It really does. It's no joke. So I'm not expecting to be able to work with it for long periods of time like I do, say, smaller gauge rings in stainless steel or, aluminum. Right? Because this bright aluminum that I'm using on this cube is not, it's pretty soft. A comparable size in stainless steel would be a little bit more difficult to work with, but still malleable enough to be able to weave it for several hours. But 16 gauge spring steel, now we're getting into an area where you don't want to work with that for a long period of time because you are going to hurt yourself if you're anything like me. I should get it in dead soft, weave it, and then send it out and pay the $250 to harden it. Yeah. That would be much preferable to having to weave it all myself, hardened. I'll be alright though. We'll get through it. This project will be... It'll be done sooner rather than later, and it'll be a very unique piece. So it'll be the first sculptural piece that I will put up for sale. So we'll see what happens. That was another fun thing. Like, in addition to some people getting, what do you call it? Confused about the dimensions and how many rings were in this cube, there were a bunch of people telling me, like, they would ask what the price was, right? And right now, at somewhere between 17 and 18,000 rings for this cube, you're looking at somewhere between $2,000 to $3,000, right? I wouldn't sell it for anything less. I'm not in a position where I have to sell it. This is a personal project. I'm just making this as a thing for people to play with at my bar down here in the basement. So I don't have to sell anything I make if I don't want to. I don't do the work my butt off every week making chainmail products and then go and run a booth hustle that some chainmail artists do. And I'm incredibly impressed by them for how much they weave and how much they get done. And these rings are pre-made, yeah. I will be making my own. Hopefully by the end of this year, I will have my coiling and cutting setup completed. But I used to make my rings when I first started, and I did that for a long number of years, and then I worked on this European 6-in-1 chainmail shirt, and it took me years. And when I found out that there were companies like the Ring Lord making rings, I was like, okay, I'm done with making rings. But now I couldn't make rings nice enough for me to justify making them myself. Now that I don't know, I've taken this more seriously. Is this my full-time job or a side hobby? I'm retired. So this is just, it's a hobby. What was I saying? Now that I've been serious about this hobby for about the past 15 years. I've been doing this for about 28 years. And thank you. Like where I'm at now, I've got my website where I design and sell chainmail themed apparel. I make chainmail. I've done enough and I have enough experience that I want to do this. I want to make large, cool chainmail sculptures. That is essentially what I want to do. So it's going to be cheaper in the long run if I make my own rings. And what do you call it? The cost of the sculptures I want to make or the art I want to make. No. Did I say that? I want to make rings to cut the cost down of the stuff I want to make. And the where I'm at now, I can make nicer rings than I did when I first started. What's the cube cost, materials, more or less? So last I checked, I had $100 into this cube so far. And then I ordered this bag of rings, and I don't know at this point. Actually, no. You know what? I can tell you. It's like $4.50, $5 per ounce. And I've added half this bag. This was a 10-ounce bag, right? So if we just do this, it's 1 pound, 8.7 ounces. So what is that times 4 1/4, 4.5? Calculator. Okay. So that's 24.6 ounces. 24.6 times 4.5. $110 plus shipping and handling. So probably it's coming from Canada. So it's probably something like 30. You want to see this cube? Here, I'm working on that side. Thank you for the dinos. So, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, $120, $130 with shipping and handling and everything, right? But to make them myself, it would be less than half that, I imagine. I don't know, but $32 to $40 per pound is going rate of 16 gauge. Yeah. Uh-oh. Stuff is falling. What am I knocking off? Can't see. Why are you here? Alright. Yeah, the cost is all time related. Oh, you mean like, as in how much I would sell this cube for? So there is... Thank you, Red. Someone was telling me that my hourly rate was too high, right? And, like, that's not how pricing art works. It's not how pricing most things works, right? Like, things sell for what people are willing to pay for them, right? The price of something is what someone is willing to pay for it. Is anyone willing to pay $2 to $3 grand for this? I've had offers of $3,500 so far. I know someone who would probably give me $4 for it. When it's done and it's 20 rows on each side, I wouldn't sell it for less than 10. It is a personal project. I am just making this to say that I made it, right? And then someone was like, "Oh, your materials cost plus your labor cost doesn't make any sense. You should lower that." And I'm like, do you go to a painter and ask them how much their oil paints cost for them to make a painting? You know, do you factor that in when you go buy a piece of art? I posted a video. It went viral. It's been seen by like almost 2 million people at this point with this cube when it was smaller. I had so many people asking me if I would sell it to them, right? And I pointed them to another couple of chainmail artists and be like, these guys take requests. They do custom work. They also have like cool colored anodized rings to make cubes out of. So go talk to them because like this is just a personal project of mine, something for me to do. And what was I saying? I was saying something. Oh, so my point is that out of the 100, 200 people that asked me if I would sell it to them, there's a good chance I could get a decent price on it, right? I don't know if I could get $4 grand. I don't know if I could get 10 grand when it's finished. But the likelihood that I can hold on to it until someone offers me 10 grand is pretty good. So we'll see. Yeah, $4 grand for it. No, like right now, I've been offered $3,500 for it when it was smaller. I would if I was going to sell it, I would probably sell something like this between 2 and 3 grand, right? I am going to make another cube. It's a larger ring size, so it will be physically bigger than this cube, but it'll have, I think I'll have enough rings to make 18 by 18 by 18 row cube, so it's going to be pretty big. I think I'm going to raffle that off, right? Just because there were so many people interested. I can't make cubes with tens of thousands of rings in them for everyone. But I can make one and give it to a lucky someone. So, 30 pounds of wire costs you $70. Yeah. See, it's going to be cheaper to make my own rings and polish them up and make beautiful artwork with it. You love and think you'll get around that? I think so too. Thank you. You haven't made one yet, but you feel confident that you can? I believe in you. You absolutely can. They're not... Once you get the concept with... As with most chainmail weaves, once you have an understanding of what you're doing, it's not hard. Doing something like this with 17,000 rings in it right now, it's a grind. It's a mindset. You just work on it until you get tired of it, then you set it down, and then you be sure to come back to it. Don't leave it for too long. I have a lot of projects I'm working on that I left for way too long, like the Finnegan's Wake flag. All stuff I'm trying to finish up now. So, think of it, it's kind of like knitting, you think. I think so too. It occupies your hands and leaves your mouth free to talk, and, you do have to... Especially when working on the inlay, because I was silly and decided to freehand that inlay and don't have a gridded out map of where each ring goes like I should have made before I started on it. That one's a little harder to work with and talk at the same time, but it's not terrible. It's like a shirt, but not as technical. It's just a grind. You like calling it feeding the ever-hungry cube. Yes, there is enough rings in this that if the ring size was a little different, it would probably make a good shirt. Maybe 2 if you wove this many rings. This is your blender of the decade. The Finnegan's Wake inlay and not and deciding to freehand it. This is the blunder of 2 decades. I started that back in 2005, 2006 at the latest, maybe. You have an idea that would be fun? What do you got? So, do your prep work. Don't be like me. Map out all of your inlays before. Know how many rings you need. Order all the rings from the same batch. So that they're all the same color. I think the color process has improved from the Ring Lord. I don't know about other chainmail ring manufacturers because I haven't had a chance to order from them. 3D printers can probably print a whole layer as in the rings, then tie layers with Meta. I have seen someone make a cube on a 3D printer. A chainmail cube just like this. It wasn't, it was quite a small cube. It was a 2x2 or a 3x3, I'm not sure. But they printed it and they were successful, and it was very cubelicious, as they say. Oh, but alternate metal and plastic? Yeah, I gotcha. That was another thing people were saying. Someone told me that this was a waste of time because in 64 to 80 hours he could build a whole machine to make himself something like this, right? I don't believe that he could make a whole machine in 64 to 80 hours. But maybe they're really good at mechanics and can build stuff like that. I don't know. This whole anti-do-it-yourself group of people that I ran into. You're always going to have haters. Doesn't matter what you do. All right, let's see here. All right. You want to send it to a titanium plant to print you a micro jelly cube? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, those metal 3D printers, like they could absolutely churn out something like this. Technology is going to progress. It's going to move forward, and like someone who likes chainmail is going to design a machine that can spit out all sorts of different weaves and really high quality chainmail stuff, and that's just a reality. You see a machine doing sheets, but then you'd have to tie them with manual layers. There are, I mean, let's see here. There are companies that use chainmail, sheets of chainmail, and then it's welded. It's really small. Like Mailtech does printed chainmail mesh, or machine-made chainmail mesh, rather. And they supply all of the chainmail for Neptunic shark suits, which are the chainmail shark suits you see on Discovery Channel during Shark Week. And they're super cool, and I want one. And they're $7,500, so go to my store and get yourself a nice chainmail-themed piece of apparel or an accessory, and support me in my dream of owning a Neptunic shark suit one day. I should call them and see if they'll sponsor me. 80/20 stepper motor rails, open source code. Yeah, 3D printers all the way to concrete pouring houses. Yep. You learn Gridlock Byzantine, and it's your new favorite. Right on. I'm not even sure if I know what that is. I'm sure I've seen it. But congratulations on learning new weaves. I think I've learned all the weaves that I can. I know a few. I know enough. And trying to learn more. I tried to learn Moorish Rose while I was on stream one night, and that did not go well. That did not keep my hands busy and my mouth free to chat. I was very flummoxed. You don't have the patience? How you doing, Bearded Lunchbox? It only takes patience if you'd rather be doing something else. Sometimes, like, this project has definitely become a grind at times, but you set it aside for a little bit and then you come back to it and it's not that bad. You did Kinged Viper Barus. See, I haven't even done that. I bought... Where is my bracelet? I bought this from Sassy Lass Studios, right? 2 years ago now. And I don't have the right ring size in my dwindling stock of TRL rings for King Viper Barus. It is one, I do plan on learning it. I do plan on learning Moorish Rose and other weaves, but like when I have some full Persian sculptures that I've made, right? This weave for this cube is called Sandworm. I use sandworm to make these rings. And you know, I took something I knew and I made it. I took something I knew that's fairly simple and I made it more complex. Is all I did, right? So I will learn more weaves at some point, but also a lot of what I hope to do soon, you will. It'll be just a simple concept made obtusely fancy. You've not attempted Moorish Rose yet, so don't feel bad. Appreciate it. I tried it. I was like, what in the world am I doing wrong? I don't know if the ring size I had was the wrong ring size or what, but there's some, like, I want to learn Fireworm. That one's cool. I have a Fireworm Get Back Whip from Masterlink Mail. Greg from Masterlink Mail. Cool guy. He sets up tables at bike rallies and swap meets. That's the word I'm looking for. And I use that as an excuse to hop on the bike and ride out, and I go and buy something from him. Because it is always fun to go see other chainmail artists and see what they're making. Thank you for the heart. I appreciate you, Yedis. How you doing today? So, like, I drove all the way down to Chicago proper, downtown, down by the lake, which is about 2 hours from me, to go see Sassy Lass Studios. And she has some awesome stuff when I was there. And then Masterlinks Mail, he's usually about an hour away from me, wherever he sets up his booth, sometimes a little more. I've been out to see him 2 or 3 times. He's probably setting up a table somewhere here in the next month or two, so you'll see us. Post a picture of it somewhere. I'm doing well. Better. My wrists are not hurting. I've been weaving most of the day. No ill effects. So taking a break over the weekend helped. Because after... This is what did it to me. After working on this and making 30 of these individual rings, my wrists were just cooked. So, don't fall over. What are you doing? All right. We're not going to get through this layer. Each of these sides, right, has over 500 rings on it right now. I think the last time I counted it was like 572. Right? And it's an hour, or no, it's 2 hours plus per side right now. So, all you can do is sit and work through them. I am halfway done with this bag though. So, that's a good start. By chance, was he showing you how to do a full Persian? Been watching videos and still can't get it? I can try to show you. Let's see here. I can't do it with these rings. Actually, hey, you know what? I do have a wallet chain to make. But this is not, like, you can't see what I'm doing from here. But I tell you what. Is this real chainmail? Yes. Yedis, if you give me a bit, I can make a video, like, tomorrow for you. Or you and I just hang out. I do have to do a YouTube live, or a TikTok live on the live studio for TikTok. And so, you let me know when you have time tomorrow. I'll hop on and go live because that TikTok live format is a lot more friendly to doing something like this. Right? How you doing, Fred? Build It Off Box Mail, work to help you learn it. Full Persian. Box is an underrated weave. I think a lot of people underrate Byzantine too. I think they get tired of it quickly and then go on to learn other things. You're very welcome. I will try to help out. You let me know when you're available, and I'll hop on the TikTok live studio, and we will make some full Persian. It's one of those things that once you get it, you get it. Chainmail cube, yes. Byzantine is simple yet elegant. Yes, it is, and it's very cool weave. It's one of my favorites, just because, like Japanese 4-in-1, which you can build 3-dimensional objects out of, Byzantine also can go in 3 dimensions, unlike many other weaves. I don't actually know of any other weaves that can. Looks cool AF, thank you. Doing okay, I seen this, and you love everything doing with medieval weapons and armor. Collect a bunch, right on, right on. Whose collection? I was watching someone's Lord of the Rings collection the other day, and I was like, I didn't know that this stuff existed and that you could buy it. Of course, when Lord of the Rings came out, all 3 movies, I was a very poor, silly kid with what was I doing? I was in the army, and so I couldn't have like collected any of those things when they were available online. Now they're like almost all in the hands of collectors. Excuse me. But I was watching his collection. I was super impressed. The guy had everything, things he didn't have or didn't exist, he made. It's got a whole whole Lord of the Rings like channel making stuff. Ladder Byzantine pattern has been a big hit lately. Right on. It's like, I have a chainmail collection. It is pretty cool. But other people collect cooler stuff. Alright. You have an original Sting Blade that costs quite a lot? Yeah. Byzantine Cube is a great one for 3D with Byzantine. Yeah. I want to play with the concept of expanding Byzantine out in all 3 directions and building something structural from it. Or something that hangs correctly. Just because it's cool. So, but I haven't had time to do that. And I probably won't for some time. But it'll be... A lot of the stuff that I want to make is in my head. I know how I'm going to make it. I know what ring size I'm going to use. I know what weave I'm going to use, and I know how I'm going to put it together. So, like, I don't have a lot of stuff I want to experiment with, necessarily. Moving forward, once I get done with these pesky basement projects that I keep making. For some reason, I keep getting more pesky basement projects, and... they're all really big projects, and they take up a lot of my time. All right, you just have a good one. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Thanks for the roses. Appreciate you. All right. It's like... there is going to be a part of me that's going to want... Cool setup you've got. Any tips for a beginner? You've done 1 kit. Right on. How you doing, McCabe? Mr. Cabe? It's only been 2 years since I started this cube. Is that what you're saying, John? Your captured dress is only 7,000 and change more to finish, but you can't keep your ADHD brain focused to just spend a year making just them. Yeah. Mr. Cape. All right, so this may be a bit biased, but if you go into the link tree in my bio, you will find the Mailworks app available on Google and Apple. And inside of that app are things like where to find tutorials, where to find suppliers, tool recommendations, where to find... what was I going to say? Tool recommendations, supply... where to find where chainmail artists hang out online. It was finished, and then I've started to change some stuff around the other day. So there's like a big Discord logo in there, and it looks like crap, but I am working on that. I do have to change that. And then the scale designer tab down in the bottom, that has a bad logo on it too. I'm still working on that. Otherwise, excuse me. Other than that, it's a fully functional app, right? So download that. Go to the supplier section, right? And check out all the people who manufacture rings. If you've done 1 kit and you want more, I know places like We've Got Mail and Metal Designs have kits. There is a large kit Excuse me. There is a large kit from Chainmail Joe that comes with a beautiful box, a tutorial book full of a bunch of weaves, and a bunch of different ring sizes. And Chainmail Joe is listed in the suppliers section over on the Mailworks app. So, and the Mailworks app is free to download. There is a link to my website in there where I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories, and you can help me out by getting yourself something from there, or letting other people who love chainmail and medieval Renaissance-y stuff that my store exists. Word of mouth works great. But it doesn't cost anything. It's free. Sweet. Sounds like a great place to start. You'll be downloading that for sure. You're very welcome. I try to get on here many nights of the week. I did just take the weekend off because my wrists they needed a break. I'm usually on here 8:30 to 10 most nights of the week. So feel free to come in and ask any question you have. If I can point you in a right direction somewhere, I will certainly help you out with that information. You vote Chainmail Joe's kit, clasps, baggies, colored rings, $200 worth of final products easily. Nice. Yeah, I need to go and buy their box and just be... Everyone who comes in and is like, yo, how can I start doing that? I'll just flash them the box. I need to ask if they'll send me one. Like, hook me up. I need a box to demonstrate with. Alright. So... I was okay. I know what I was talking about earlier. I have a bunch of ideas in my head. I know how I'm going to go about making them and stuff like that, and yada 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 yada. The issue is going to be that I will be supposed to be making stuff for sale at that point by the time I get to make these things, and I'm going to be very tempted to be like, I'm going to make myself one, and then I'm going to make one for sale, and then I'm going to make myself one, and but I don't know if I'm going to. The goal is to make large pieces for sale for a gallery hosting, right? And have people spend lots of money on my art. So I can't be keeping stuff for myself, despite however much I want to add cool stuff to my own collection. Like this cube I'm working on here, right? The rings are quality enough. This is a cool enough concept that once this is done and all put together, it'll look really cool. And it'll be up for sale eventually once it's done, right? I don't know if I want to make 2 of those though. But when it does finally sell, I'll be like, oh, I miss it. I don't know. Maybe I should just make 2 of everything. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's part of the reason why this cube is not for sale, right? It's like, I wanted a big jelly cube, and now I have one. I just got to get it out to the size that I want. How far are we? We are almost 4 inches. We're a little over 3.5 inches wide, right? And what is... We're at 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this far out. So this will be a 20 by 20 by 20 jelly cube by the time I'm done. And it'll be 5 inches in length on each side. In length, height, and width. It'll be around 44,000 rings, I think is the number that was calculated. And that is a lot of work, right? So hard for me to part with something I put so much time into. However, also, I do want to make ridiculously cool stuff and sell it. Just like other people do. You know? But I don't want to sell just jewelry, bracelets and necklaces and earrings and the occasional larger piece of armor. Because there are people already doing that. It's not that I can't make those things or that I don't enjoy making those things. They're fun to make. I've made a lot of cool stuff, right? Like, these are two of my bracelets that I spent a lot of time on. And, you know, I'll probably make more stuff like that in the future, but there are a bunch of people that make jewelry already who are better at it, and they're more pretty and they're more handsome and they're more talented than I am. So I have zero problem when someone comes and asks me for something going, this person over there does that thing. I hope you two connect and that you can work something out. Does that make sense? And maybe my whole plan will fail. Oh, it might. It might fail. I might make large pieces of chainmail art and never have one sell, right? I don't think that's going to be the case, but if I'm wrong, then I will just have a house full of awesome chainmail sculpture. Can I go faster? You mean weaving? No. I'm slow. I can weave somewhere between 200 and 300 rings an hour. And especially while streaming, it's really closer to 2. But I can force myself to go faster than that, but that leads to injuries and you wear yourself out. And when you're weaving as many hours a day as I am, I can't afford to injure myself. So let me get these rings woven together for you quick as I can. I too desire for these rings really to just connect themselves into the idea I have in my head so I can go do something else. But the problem with that is the instant I go and do something else, I'm thinking about working on a project and I feel guilty for whatever I'm doing. It's why I don't watch a lot of movies or play video games unless I'm watching a movie while making chainmail. I don't play a lot of video games, so I do have to make it a point to go and spend time with family. I can't spend all my time down here and ignore them. But there are plenty of times when I'm just like, okay, I'm tired of working on this. I need these rings to get into the order that I need them so that I can be done. Never works though. I always have to finish projects by doing it by hand. You play a lot of video games you can bot and watch while you weave? Oh, I can't. I've got to focus on what I'm doing. wonder if that's the issue. I have this webcam here, and I'm looking at, you guys can't see it, but I'm all like kind of grainy and washed out. Whereas on the phone cam, I'm fine, right? And then the overhead cam here, that's fine. I don't know if I need to change out my webcam or what. And I noticed this like really bad when I went live using Live Studio over on TikTok. And I was like, wow, that's actually like really bad. So, I don't know. I gotta do something about that. I don't want to buy another webcam, but need to figure out lighting a little better in here. I have to have a lot of light because I need to be able to see. But I also don't want to look washed out. You know what I mean? All right, but that is a problem for another day. We have been adding to this stream for quite a long time. It's much improved than when I first started streaming, and we're getting somewhere. We're going someplace. So we've got chat rooms, Spinny logo, bottom logo, slideshow, my face, and that's all over on all the other platforms. I have to get a stream key still from TikTok. And I'll get that when I hit 10,000 followers. So if you're watching and you like what you're seeing, please follow, share, like the stream, all that fun stuff. That helps me out. So I did apply through Streamlabs, which is my streaming platform, my Streamlabs OBS. And I got accepted to use TikTok Live Studio, right? For like 2 weeks. And I have to go live 25 minutes I have to go live for 25 minutes 2 times in the first 2 weeks, and then it opens it up to 180 days. Right? So I think I can do that, and then I'll get the stream key, and then all the rest will fall into place. I hope. Or I'll hit 10,000 followers and I'll be able to get a stream key that way. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Excuse me. We're getting there, little by little. Like I started getting a lot of work done on stream, on TikTok, like in October. And we're at 7,500 followers so far. So it's not explosive growth or anything, but it's been pretty steady. And we're getting there. Had you asked me 2 months ago if I would have reached 10,000 anytime in the next year, I would have said no. Because I was like, it didn't take me long to get to 1,000, right? But I stayed at a little over 1,000 for a long time. All right. I had some chicken cacciatore tonight that the wife made. It was pretty good. Then I sat and weaved all of this. Not all of this, but I sat and I worked on this cube all of today. That was the bulk of my day. I did meet another creator who lives near me, and I actually know where he works. I don't know if I told this story last night or not, so this was fun. I was on Facebook. I see a reel from one of the local businesses, and I know the guy that works the front desk there, right? And then I go over to TikTok, and I open it up, and someone who looks exactly like the guy from the local business is sitting there doing a live stream cooking in his kitchen. I was like, what in the doppelganger is going on right now? And then he said where he was from, and I was like, okay, it's him. It's the same guy. I'm not a crazy person. But he works at a bike shop, and that's where I know him from. So I popped into his live, and I told him what just happened. And then he was telling me about a bike they have at the shop. And I'm not going to go buy another bike, but I do want to see this one. It's a, what did he say it was? A 2019 Screaming Eagle. Or it's got a Screaming Eagle 131 crate motor in there. And I went to go by the shop today to look at it. And their parking lot was full. A bunch of people had bought bikes and left their vehicles there. So I drove to the end of the parking lot, turned around, and I didn't want to park in the grass. And I drive past there every day. So I was like, I'll just stop in tomorrow. The 131s are chunky, yeah. It's like I was looking at, we were talking about the stuff that I want to do to my motorcycle. Because if you haven't hung out here a lot, I've got a saddlebag project I've got going on where the lids of my saddlebags are covered in chainmail, right? And I'm finishing up the second one just as soon as I sit down and force myself to finish the second one, because it's a grind to lace the chainmail and the leather together. But it does look good, and it's riding season, and I want those saddlebags on the bike. So that motorcycle project, saddlebags are almost done. I'm making a leather bib for the gas tank, and I'm wrapping the toolkit in chainmail. So I'm trying to get all that done this year. These are 18 gauge 1/8 standard wire gauge rings from Chain Reaction Canada. It's chain-reaction.ca. How you doing, Spacey Lacey? Any ring with an aspect ratio of, I believe it's 2.65 to 2.79 will do the trick. But these 18 gauge 1/8 rings, bright aluminum from Chain Reaction. That's chain-reaction.ca up in Canada. Are perfect for a cube, right? We're 17,000 plus rings in, and this is just, it's a perfect cube. I'm doing all right. I want getting a lot of work done today. But yeah, the bike project, I want to get all the chainmail and leather work done this year. Then next year I want to hydro dip the, what do you call it, front and rear fender, the side panel, and the gas tank in a chainmail pattern. So we'll get that done next year. And then the year after that is when I want to start doing things like a chain conversion, adding a turbo, making just a really ridiculously fast motorcycle. You started chainmail about a year ago and have enjoyed it so far? Right on. It's fun. You can make cool stuff with it. I recommend everyone should try chainmail because it's the coolest. It's the one thing that when I started making this when I was 14 that I got and I felt good and talented and handsome when I was making it, right? I've never been good at anything else. I was good at my job. I was a nurse, but I don't do that anymore. This is now the only thing I'm good at. I'm a pretty good dad too, but mostly making dice bags and necklaces. Right on. That's good stuff. We need more dice bags and necklaces in the world. I ride a 2013 Road King. It's got a 103 in there. I got Vance and Hines pipes on it. But, yeah, 2 years from now, chainmail and leather done on the bike this year. Hydro dip it next year. Year after that, stage 4 it. Throw a turbo on there. Maybe change out the pipes. I don't know. I don't know what all of my options are. Maybe change out the motor. I was told a 120R will fit my bike. And nothing increases your power like adding cubic inches. You can do all the tricks in the book. So swap out the motor. And it's like, yeah, I could go buy another bike. But I own this one. And I'd rather just mess with this one. I can go buy another $30,000 bike that mine didn't cost that much. But that's what they cost now, right? They're not cheap. That's not right. You can get plenty of Harleys for 20 grand, right? Out of the box. But for what I want, I couldn't get a Harley with a large enough motor for what I want under 30 grand. The one I'm going to go take a look at tomorrow is 30 grand. So I don't want that bill. I'm just going to spend any extra money I have on making my bike just as ridiculous as I can make it. You get it, customizing what you own is much more enjoyable. Yeah. You notice you split each rig individually. Have you tried making a big batch of splits at a time? You mean like opening a bunch of rings in preparation for your project? No, I have tried that. And the main reason I don't do it is because I'll be opening rings and I'll open like 3 or 4 and then I'll close 3 or 4 and then I'll weave 3 or 4 and then I'll forget what I was doing and I'll go back to weaving them one at a time. And I don't want to be... I want to pick up a ring one time, weave it, and call it a day. Right? So I know people plan out their work. They open the correct number of rings. And there's nothing wrong with that. But whatever speed you gain by having rings open, right, you're picking up the ring twice. So I think it's probably about the same speed anyway. I don't know. I don't knock it. You make stuff however you want to make it. But it's not something I can do. Because I will literally open a bunch of rings. Then I'll close a bunch of rings. And then I'll weave a bunch of rings, and I'll be like, what am I doing? What is this doing here? What is going on? Every time I've tried it, I'm just like... It gets all screwy. So, but I know plenty of people who do stuff that way. And if that's your thing, hey... I'm not here to tell anyone what to do or how to do it. All I can do is point people in the direction of where to get started making chainmail if they want to make chainmail. Like, don't do that. Don't let your pliers slip like I just did twice in a row. Come on. There we go. For you, it's more about keeping your movements more simple. Yeah, if it works for you, great. It's like some people hold their pliers like this. And I can't wrap my head around that. But they swear it's better. And some people use the hook nose pliers. And I have never been able to use those to make anything out of chainmail ever. Find what works for you and have at it. Rings per second. Some folks find they can open 2 rings a second once it's learned versus open weave, close in 12 seconds, and find adding a open ring is 6 seconds. So they have saved 5 seconds per ring, but it's all about training to keep pace. There you go. You think manipulating each ring less is beneficial? You know, when you was getting some color flaking. Yeah, with I had a whole batch of anodized titanium do the color loss, color flaking thing. I was gonna make some really cool earrings out of them, and then half the color came off the ring. I was very upset, and I did not have an anodizer at the time. I don't have one now, but I have plans to get one, right? So, thank you, Kitty Pock. How you doing? Uh-oh, it's been an hour. We're about to get the warning from TikTok that put the puzzle piece in its place. We are still live and my opinion on using those rings you wear on your ring finger to help bend. I know people who use them. I have never used one myself. I know people who criticize them. I've heard people say that it works for them. But the people who were complaining about it stated that it caused the rings to warp when they were weaving it, and I don't know if that's just how they were using it. Those rings are definitely not suitable for a lot of the ring sizes that I use or the materials that I use. So I've never used one, but I wouldn't use one personally. I have a hard enough time getting this stuff done on my own, with just my pliers. I don't need to be making it more complicated for myself. Thank you for the roses, Don. How you doing? Use your last 3 fingers, never pinky out, otherwise say thus is worse. Well, you leave 30 gauge. Pinkies all the way. But, oh, that's how you learned? Yeah. I can show you real quick, Kitty. Give you a close-up of this. You're on Twitch. Okay. So that means I have to use the overhead camera. And I will focus this. Give me just a second. So, what am I doing? There's your line right there of like where you need to add the next row of rings. And that's where I'm adding rings right now on this side. Does that make sense? And then for chain weaves, come on, focus camera. Okay, it's not gonna do it. There. Where you're making a chain, you just add rings to the end. Thank you. All right. You gave it a go, but found it made your fingers sore from it rubbing. That's another thing too, right? Like depending on the ring size, I don't want to be twisting, the wrong size gauge for a long period and tearing my finger apart. You wonder if you could add colored rings in such a way to make it look like a dice. This, you absolutely can. People have made jelly cubes with Rubik's Cubes coloring, with dice coloring. Someone, I want to say it was like a D20 that they made, but it was like kind of blobby. It didn't really look like a die at all. The rings need to be high quality stainless, smooth corners in the cutouts. The gauge needs to fit the space perfect and push in well. Are you talking about opening with the ring? Cheap rings are junk and will bend to your hand over time and possibly get stuck or mar your anodized aluminum rings. Alright. That sounds like it's an opinion from someone that knows. It's like, I know a lot of chainmail artists. Many of them have tried that ring. And the ones who use... the ones who do the hustle and bustle every weekend and they're weaving a ton of stuff every week, none of them use that particular ring. Does that make sense, Spacey Lacey? How you doing, Aqua? Alright. I think that's probably a good way to explain it. Alright. One more row. Almost complete. They need to be wider to add more leverage. Otherwise, blisters form inside the finger. Worse than the plier blisters. Oh. Excuse your ignorance, but what is the jelly cube for? Just for like decor, or is there a use for them? They make really handy throwing items. But other than that, they are just for fun. Like, this is a ridiculously large jelly cube, okay? I made it as something for me to have personally, right? Most people would never make something this large for sale. Nothing stopping them from doing so, but it is a cube that It is a cube that wiggles back and forth, and it's fun to hold in your hand, and it's, you know, it's a fidget toy, right? That is what it is. But, you know, it's also a really cool chainmail weave that I made into a cube, and I'm proud of it. Scrubbing pans. No, they're not. Scrubbing pan. Using a cube on a scrubbing pan is one of the things that don't let me tell you what to do with your life. But it's using a cube on a scrubbing pan is definitely not something I recommend. Got it. Will my husband be knocked out if you throw it at him? Not if you threw this one. This is aluminum. We just weighed it. It was 1 pound, 8.6 ounces. Right? So, probably not, right? It'd be like getting hit by a baseball. And it's like beating your kids with a bag of oranges. You know, it doesn't leave a bruise. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. It wouldn't hurt terrible, right? It is aluminum. It is squishy, right? So, like, I don't know. I've never had anyone throw it at me. A steel one, I think, you might be able to knock someone out with an actual steel one. Canceled, yeah. Don't beat your kids. Thanks for inspiration. Now you want to try your hand at a cube? You should. They're fun. You're very welcome. It's like I come on here and stream to show people that you can make chainmail at home, to show people some of the cool stuff you can make, you know, to point people in the direction of a new hobby they might pick up and become addicted to, like I am. I do have an ulterior motive, of course. I do have a website where I sell merch. And, you know, please go there and buy stuff. that does help me out. So it's not completely altruistic as to why I do this, but it does kind of hold me accountable to get these projects done by coming in on stream. First commenter tonight on stream was asking me, did I get the supplies to finish one of my last projects that I did get? And had I gotten a piece of equipment to expand my capabilities down here in the basement, an anodizer, right? And I've seen this person pop in a couple of times. It's always like pretty early on, and they always have questions like that. And so that kind of, like whenever I come back, or whenever I get on stream in the evening, right? Like I've got work to do, and these people want to see these finished projects, so I need to get work on these done. You've gotten confused trying to make cubes? There are instructions in the files section over in the large chainmail group on Facebook. I know that much. And then it's one of those things that once you get it, you get it. I know some people like to take a piece of stock card that has my address on it. They'll take a piece of paper and they'll punch some holes in there, and they'll weave their rings through there as their starting starting spot, right? And this just kind of holds it in place for them. I know a lot of people that have had some success that way. Excuse me. I hope all those were words and that I just said all those words correctly. That was, Tay, thank you for the roses. I appreciate it very much. All right. What time is it? 9:04. Wow. This went by fast. So, I'm trying to think. Using a piece of paper to stabilize the beginning portion of weaving the cube, right? I know people have had success doing that. What else? What's another good tip for cubes? You know, the first layer is the same as the third layer, and the second layer is the same as the fourth, right? And the second and fourth are just like shifted from the first and the third so that they all connect and that you can build them up. Is that, are your words do be wording? Oh, good. Okay. It's not the worst trouble I've had speaking on stream. When I was working on a brass and bronze piece, I don't remember how many times I said, no, I can't even repeat it. Brands and brass. Working on a brass and bronze piece, and I kept saying, brands and brass, yeah. I think I did it like 4 times. Words are hard. But I got through it. I have decided that I don't care for brass and bronze pieces. I have one that worked well, and the rest kind of little. Excuse me. Whoa. The rest kind of just look like turds from far away. So, I don't have any intention of purchasing any more brass or bronze to work with. I've had my fun. But the pieces I have, 2 BR metals, yeah, twist the tongue. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. What was I saying? Something about brass and bronze. I don't have any intention of ordering any more brass or bronze rings, right? But if I did, I would make separate projects of them. They patina really fast, and like if you touch them, they start to change color on you. Then you got to clean them up, and it's annoying. The name of the Facebook group that would have the design is Chain Mail, M-A-I-L-L-E. And you go, request to join, answer a couple questions, and the doorman will let you in. And if you're looking for more groups to join in regards to chainmail, or just want to go and if you need more chainmail resources, right? The Mailworks app in the link tree in my bio over on TikTok there has a ton of resources listed. It's a little wonky right now because I got to make some icons for stuff, but it fully works. Copper colored coffee cup. Good blood, bad blood. Good blood, bad blood. Yeah. One of my favorite books, Oh Say Can You Say, by Dr. Seuss. Used to enjoy reading that one. And I can read most of it fairly quickly. Right? Because I'm reading. You know, of course there's a couple of the poems in there that are impossible, but used to read them to my kiddo, right? Because reading and repeating what I'm reading, not so hard. Talking by myself, using words that my brain has to come up with, that's hard. All right. See here. Yeah, the Mailworks app. Need to make icons for the Discord and for the Scale Designer. The Scale Designer is now listed on the Mailworks app. Draffin Mail, which is Astrid Wolf's chainmail page. It's like draffin.mail or something. New artist listed in the Mailworks app. If you're someone who's looking at this and be like, oh, that's cool. I want to purchase some chainmail. There is a list of artists in the Mailworks app. And they all take custom requests and do custom work and stuff like that. And Draft and Mail is the newest entry into that list. So I do want to add a whole bunch more people. Kind of have like a chainmail directory. We'll see. It's like once I get all my basement projects done, and once I start on a point where I'm making the chainmail art I want to make, then I do want to take custom requests and commissions and stuff like that. And so I will eventually, I don't want to say compete directly with other chainmail artists and stuff, but I guess that's what it is, right? I mostly want to make art pieces, not jewelry, but I need to get all my projects down here done first. Fleas. All right. Oh, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. All right. There are other Facebook groups out there, but like chainmail jewelry and more, which is the Facebook group I admin. There are groups for beginners. There are groups for people who rivet chainmail. And most of the groups that I'm aware of are listed on the Mailworks app in my Linktree, right? I'm sure that there are a few others that I don't know of, but because I just found a resource to add the other day that I didn't even know existed. You ordered a Byzantine kit from Ringlord and can't wait. Should be here Friday. New edition. Oh, right on. Right on. And a kit is the way to go. Okay? That's my recommendation. My personal recommendation is I always tell people, because they're like, oh, how do you make your own rings? And like, you can start making your own rings. Don't get me wrong. If you have some kind of wire laying around your house and you want to make your own rings and whatnot, I can provide tips on how to do that, but for someone starting out making chainmail, I don't recommend that because I know the struggle I went through when I first started making chainmail and I was hand making all my own rings, and it was just not a good time for a long period of time. So whenever people are like, oh, I want to learn how to do that, I definitely recommend getting a kit, small kits, like a Byzantine bracelet or a Byzantine necklace kit. I don't know what you ordered, but small kits like that are great for just being introduced to the craft a little bit. And then there is a larger kit out there if you decide that you get the Chainmail Bug. It's the kit over at chainmailjoe.com. You want a successful first run, maybe later you will try that. Making your own rings? Yeah. Like, I've been ordering rings for forever. And I first started making my own rings. I made crap rings. Now I order all my rings. But now I'm at the point where to cut costs and to really like become a professional where I'm making all my own rings, you know, from start to finish. You know, I'm now just looking at starting to make my own rings, you know, many years after I got good at making chainmail. So order a kit. Beginner kits are great. Little project kits, because you get them, it's a small success very early on. And you don't have people going into these large chainmail ring manufacturers' websites and ordering a bunch of random rings. That's another situation that kits solve. Because I did that, and like this cube, the rings in this cube were sitting around for 10, 15 years before I finally decided to do something with them. And yeah, that's great. I'm making something cool now, but I had this pile of rings that I didn't know what to do with for the longest period of time. So, and I still have rings that they're not really. I have some 18 gauge 3/8 rings, and so the wire looks really thin and the diameter is really big, and it's just not practical to use for anything. I might try to weld some of the rings closed and make a weave that way. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. But it's like someone who wants to start making chainmail, they go and they order a bunch of different size rings, and they can't correlate. You know, they don't know what ring size they need for certain projects, and they just get a bunch of random stuff. Kits help alleviate that problem. So, all right. True art of chainmail is magic of turning wire to rings to finish weave, and bare minimum to really learn mail. Weaves and patterns is all subjective. Wire to rings to finish weave. I think turning wire into rings is a different skill than chainmail. And you can argue with me about that later, John. You're more than welcome to try and convince me that your statement. Yeah, I'm reading that right. I think making rings is just. I think it's a different skill set. I'm not gonna lie. All right, for anyone hanging out, my name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories, and I have a lot of stuff, a lot of designs up on the website. A lot of just plain chainmail stuff like. This is a beta project. It's not up yet, but it's a little pet hoodie, right? Got a place for a leash. It's got a pocket right there. A lot of stuff with some European foreign one printed on it. For those of you... there you go. Little puppy hoodie. And other fun stuff similar to this, but for humans. Lots of hooded blankets. Lots of fun stuff over there. So that is like I don't do a lot of commission work, but the stuff I sell is all print apparel and accessories. So please go over there if you want to see me be able to continue making chainmail. It helps fund projects, and it's part of the reason why I do this. If you are interested in learning how to make chainmail yourself, please go to the link tree on TikTok in my bio and download the Mailworks app. Like I said, a couple of the icons are wonky. I did just open up the Discord. It's open for anyone to join right now. It's getting people in there and getting it set up. We had a chat page on the app, and it wasn't working the way I needed to. So we just, screw it. Let's just put a Discord link in there and call it good. And then, like I said, the scale designer that is owned by, there's a link to it on the Mailworks app. The scale designer I don't have anything to do with that. I just know the owner and have their permission to link to it. That icon needs to be cleaned up, and I need to change how that works, because right now it's just a button, and you go to the scale designer page. I need a button that opens up a new page that says the website name with a link to it, because most of the time you'll be on your computer making the scale designs, not doing it on your phone. Hey Addison, you messed up on what rings to get, not using the right size for your scales, but at this point just keep them with this size. There you go. You want to eat it. Do I sell the cubes? I do not. But if you are on... Yeah, you're over on TikTok. So check out Astrid.wolf or Wayward and Whimsical. They are... And Richard Toddy. Astrid and Wayfair take custom requests, and they got caught up in a viral video I did about cubes. I tagged them probably 50 times, pointing people in their direction. So they've been scrambling to make cubes. They've made some. They posted some videos with some, and they probably have a bunch for sale. So at Wayfair and Whimsical. She also might pop up under Mother of Dragons, because she makes a lot of really badass chainmail dragons. So, if you want to learn more about chainmail, download the Mailworks app in the link tree in my bio. If you're on any other platform besides TikTok, check out the mailworks.com website. There's a link to the app at that website. And you'll get lists of suppliers, lists of tutorials, where to find tutorials, where to find artists, and where they hang out on the internet. Recommended tool recommendations, and more stuff. So download that app. If you're going to start making chainmail, order yourself a kit from someone like Metal Designs or We've Got Mail. They have like beginner kits available. And then if you want a big beginner kit, check out the kit over at Chainmail Joe's. It's awesome. So we recommend it a lot here on this channel. If you want to see me again, I go live 8:30 to 10 most nights of the week. I was off this past couple of days because I had to give my wrist a break because I was making this behemoth project here. So please go follow me in the link tree on TikTok in my bio. There's all of my socials, my YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I don't know wherever else I am. Please go follow me on those other channels or those other social medias because that helps me grow all my channels. None of them have worked as well as TikTok, but you know, slowly but surely we get bigger. And if you know someone who likes to make handmade stuff and you think chainmail would be a good fit for them, you should let them know about the Mailworks app, about this channel. Say my name, say my name. All right. With that, it is a little after 10. I do have some stuff I have to do before bedtime. So, I will be back on, most likely, 8:30, 10 tomorrow night. Knock on wood. And then most of the rest of the nights of this week. So, you all have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you all later. All right? Thanks for hanging out. It makes me feel really good when I got a bunch of people in here just chilling. So, you all have a good night.